between you and me, I got a few subversive little things that I'm doing right now. I can't tell you what they are. That would ruin it. It's like telling somebody your birthday wish when you go to blow out the candles. It's not how it works. Those aren't the rules of subversive thing and birthday wish. But there are a few things that pretty much everybody does and everybody thinks. It's just real fashionable, and that's just what you do in that social setting. But I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not going to do that. And then I just don't do it. And I don't know that anybody even really notices that I don't do a couple of things, but I don't do them. Maybe someday somebody will notice and they'll be like, hey, how come why no tattoo? Why come for you not doing the thing? Do the thing that we all do. That's what makes us us. And then maybe I'll have to deal with it. But for now, I just got my couple of things. Not feeling it. Not hurting anybody. Just not doing the thing. Mordecai had his thing. Whenever Haman, the guy who the king had appointed to be in charge of everything, the guy who King Xerxes gave a seat that was higher than everybody else, made him his highest chief advisor noble, whenever he would roll by the gate there in Susa in the 470s BC, Mordecai was just like, I'm not feeling it. I know. Yeah, I get it. I know this is just what we do right now. We bow and scrape and grovel. And he rides by with his nose in the air, and while he does that, we got our noses to the ground, but I don't think I'm going to do it. And so he just doesn't do it. And the funny thing about it is, according to the text, Haman has his nose pointed so high that he doesn't even notice, apparently. Check it out. Here we go. I mean, I've read this one a couple times. I'm going to read it again. After these events, King Xerxes honored Haman, son of Hammedatha the Agagite, elevating him and giving him a seat of honor higher than that of all the other nobles. And we're going to find out here in a little bit that after these events ends up meaning probably several years later. I think we're going to get a little timeline marker here in a bit that puts us several years into the reign of Xerxes. So, the time is passing here rather quickly. And verse 2 of Esther chapter 3 says, all the royal officials at the king's gate knelt down and paid honor to Haman, for the king had commanded this concerning him. But Mordecai, he's not doing it. Mordecai wouldn't kneel down or pay him honor. Verse 3, then the royal officials at the king's gate asked Mordecai, why do you disobey the king's command? Notice it's not Haman who's doing this. He hasn't even caught on. And these royal officials, they probably like Mordecai because they know that he outed the correct co-conspirators who wanted to kill the king, and he could have implicated other people, enemies, people he just didn't like at the gate. And the reality of implicating the two guys who were actually guilty could have got a couple of other people swept up in the conspiracy, even though they weren't guilty at all. So they come to him, Matthew 18 style, alone and in private, and they're like, hey, why aren't you doing why come no tattoo? Why come you aren't doing the thing? Do you get that reference? The why come no tattoo thing? It's from the prescient film Idiocracy that Mike Judge made 25 years ago. He's the guy who made Beavis and Butthead. And in that movie, starring Luke Wilson, he predicted kind of everything about how the things are turning out. And one of the things that he predicts about the future is that everyone will be dumbified by groupthink so badly that they will accept horrible impositions from government and society and then be very, very threatened and angry by anybody who didn't get the mark on the, why don't you have the government issued tattoo? What are you doing wrong? So whenever I run into something that is super groupthinky and the only thing to do and you have to get the thing and show people that you did the thing, I always go, why come no tattoo? So that's what that's a reference to there. Now we're all up to speed. So they come to Mordecai and they're like, why come no tattoo? Why do you disobey the king's command? Day after day, they spoke to him, but he refused to comply. Seriously, Mordecai, you are killing us. And more so, you're killing yourself, dude. It's a command. You have to. I know you're in the good graces of the king, but not that good of graces, or else he'd be giving you rewards, which you might notice he hasn't given you at all. Dude, you gotta bend the knee to the king's man. You're making us all look bad in terms of us to sit at the gate. Come on. Well, finally, They run out of patience with it. They gave Mordecai ample opportunity to comply with the performative public gesture to get the metaphorical tattoo, and he just ain't doing it. Therefore, they told Haman about it to see whether Mordecai's behavior would be tolerated. Isn't that interesting, though? To see whether it would be tolerated. I still don't get the impression that these guys are just rats. I think they're like, well, if he doesn't have to get the tattoo, could we not get the tattoo? If he doesn't have to do the stupid performative gesture, I mean, I'm not brave enough to be the first one to be subversive and not do the stupid performative gesture, but I'd kind of like to not do the stupid performative gesture. I guess we could just ask Haman if it's okay. And I have a comment about that, by the way. Idiots! You can't. What do you think his answer is going to be? Yeah, no, that's cool. Let's let that spread like a thought contagion, that being disrespect for me and my office. No, that's fine. You guys don't have to keep bowing or whatever. I don't even actually like it that much. So, no, he's going to melt down. He's a dude in power who allows people to bow down to him. If you allow people to bow down to you, you want people to bow down to you. So these guys come off, I think, in this passage as being a little bit rubish, almost like teacher, before you let us go. Yes, Mikey, you forgot to give us homework. Oh, come on, Mikey. Dang it, you will feel the wrath of that later on the playground, you sycophantic little puke. Seems like there's those guys in this particular situation. Well, here's how that works out. Therefore, they told Haman about it to see whether Mordecai's behavior would be tolerated, for he had told them he was a Jew. Okay, there's another wrinkle there as well. And maybe this gives us a little bit of a clarification as to how the other gate guards are going to Haman and what they're thinking. I still think there's merit to the idea that their compass is spinning because somebody's not doing the performative gesture and you have to do the performative gesture. But I think they're also wondering if maybe there's some kind of religious or medical exemption here to doing the performative gesture to getting the metaphorical idiocracy tattoo, because they bring up that he's a Jew. So, like, is he allowed to not debase himself in front of you by putting his nose in the mud and the poop and the dirt every time that you go by, but we still have to? Is he allowed an exception because he's Jewish and they're theoretically not supposed to do that? I mean, again, we talked about yesterday, it looks like lots of other Jews were bowing to Persian leaders and so forth. Maybe they were just wondering about that. And if there is some kind of exemption, might there be some other exemptions for really good gate guards? Or maybe we could be a little bit Jewish too? Because I'm not going to lie, Haman, you're great. I think you're super. I hope you keep your job. But there's a lot of poop in particular, because horses and they got different. There's just a lot of poop that gets in the area where we have to kneel down, and then like putting your nose in there. The closer your nose is to the poop, it's like the more you smell it. And if you actually get your nose in there, then like it comes with you even when you stand up. It's just, if there were any exemptions available for Jewishness or maybe for being from somewhere else, we would want to know about that and we would want to exercise it as well. So I still think it's possible to give these guys a benefit of the doubt and to assume that maybe they're just trying to feel out the boundaries of this ridiculous performative requirement that has been foisted upon them. But my friends, there will be no exceptions. Everybody's getting the tattoo. Everybody will do the gesture. When Haman saw that Mordecai would not kneel down or pay him honor, he was enraged. Yet, having learned who Mordecai's people were, he scorned the idea of killing only Mordecai. Instead, Haman looked for a way to destroy all Mordecai's people, the Jews, throughout the whole kingdom of Xerxes. And now the grand tension of the book of Esther is fully set up and in motion, and it all comes down to this one silly little performative gesture. Mordecai, simply do the thing. Put your nose in the dirt and the poop when that one guy goes by. You don't really even have to do it for anybody else. Just do it, because that's what we do. And stuff means stuff. And you not doing it means you're not down. And being down is how we signal to each other that we are a part of things and can be trusted not to dangerously disrupt the order of things. True, the performative gesture might be meaningless in a tangible sense, but in that intangible groupthink sense, it is absolutely vital and required by the state and the people who are afraid of being persecuted by the state that you participate. Your refusal to participate throws a giant wrench in the works and messes everything up. And now that refusal is going to result in actual, tangible, real-world consequences. But as we can see, those consequences aren't just going to be for Mordecai. This one refusal to participate, whether the motives behind it were selfish and silly, maybe like some of my subversive motives, or whether they were noble, maybe like some of my other subversive motives, doesn't matter. The fact that he wouldn't participate is going to now create the justification on the part of powerful people to have an out-group within society. And here's another lesson we've learned from the massive sample size that is history and authoritarianism. Authoritarian regimes like having an out-group, but further, the citizenry likes having an out-group. There's a lot of pent-up anger and frustration when you live in a culture that's frustrating, and you can't take it out on anybody. And so if ever there's permission to take it out on someone, people will. Now, I know when I say that, your brain goes right to one of 2 or 3 recent examples, but think big picture here. There's always out-groups in society, and no noble, kind, enlightened group of people have ever been able to fully resist the temptation of making an out-group in their society and then persecuting them. It just so happens the Jews have been on the receiving end of this deal several times, and the story that we're starting to see develop here in the book of Esther is one that no doubt for all of us conjures memories of other moments in history where the Jewish people face that outgroup persecution as well. If you can't tell, I'm absolutely fascinated by the social dynamic, the social contagion that is in play here. I'm fascinated by the power of this one guy. Again, regardless of the quality of his motives, I'm fascinated by his ability to disrupt and really make a mockery of this whole required performative gesture thing that everybody else is playing along with. And I want to explore it a little bit more next time around. Hey, I need to talk to Trevor real quick. Trevor, I got a really nice message from you today. And in it, you said that you recommend a lot of podcasts to people. That your highest success rate recommendation is this one, and that you often hear back from people that they kind of still like it and everything, even a month or 2 later. What a really, really thoughtful, nice thing to say. And the all joking and tone aside, seriously, dude, putting your name next to mine and recommending my stuff to people who you have a reputation with and a relationship with, that ain't lost on me. Thank you for the vouch. Thank you for putting your name next to mine. That is humbling. And thanks also to everybody else who's done that as well, but especially you, Trevor, because I got your note and it meant a lot. All right, that's it. I'm Matt. This is the 10-Minute Bible Hour podcast. Let's do this again soon.